Democratic Congressman Beto O'Rourke winning the Democratic nomination to challenge Senator Ted Cruz in November. Will O'Rourke become the first Democrat to win a U.S. Senate seat in Texas in 30 years? Joining us now is Congressman Beto O'Rourke. Good morning, Congressman.
Good morning.
Okay, so the good news for you is that last night you saw the highest Democratic turnout in Texas since 2002. The bad news, I guess, is that your future opponent, Senator Ted Cruz, got twice as many votes in his primary, in his GOP primary, as you did. So what does that tell you?
I was really encouraged by the turnout that we saw amongst everyone in Texas, Democrats and Republicans alike. That can only be a good thing for our state, which has historically been not a red state, but a state that just doesn't vote. And so people are getting off the sidelines and into the game. And our strategy of going to each one of the 254 counties, listening to people and making their concerns and their fight, our concerns and our fight, is going to work. And the good thing is we have 8 months to continue to work with and listen to the Texans that we want to serve and represent in the United States Senate. And we're doing it without a dime of PAC money, corporate cash, special interest contributions. It's just people, the people of Texas who we want to serve and represent.
We just heard from your future opponent, Senator Ted Cruz, who basically says that he pointed out that you lost South Texas and said that he thinks it's impossible for you to win in Texas because of your NRA rating. He said you have an F rating with the NRA. And, you know, look, let's face it. I mean, Texas is a gun culture. How can you win in Texas with that rating?
You know, I think a lot of Texans are wondering who it is that Ted Cruz represents in the Senate. He's taken hundreds of thousands of dollars from the NRA. So as people are begging us to take action and dispense with the prayers and thoughts and make sure that we have comprehensive universal background checks and save the lives of our fellow Americans and fellow Texans, as they ask us to ensure that we don't allow people to buy weapons of war designed for the sole purpose of killing people as effectively and efficiently, they're going to see in us a campaign that is responsive to the people that I want to serve and represent of Texas. And you're right, we have a great tradition and culture of gun ownership and gun safety for hunting, for sport, for self-defense. And I think that can allow Texas to take the lead on a really tough issue, which the country is waiting for leadership and action on. And so I'm grateful that the people of Texas are going to give us a chance to do that. And I'm following their orders, taking their lead. I'm going to make sure that we do the right thing by Texas and by this country.
But just out of curiosity, when you do go to all of those counties, and if you're saying that South Texas is more conservative, then what do people say about your desire to ban the AR-15? I mean, is that a bridge too far from them? And realistically, with that, I understand that everybody wants background checks, and certainly polls suggest that, but not everybody is for banning the AR-15. And do you think realistically that could cost you the election?
You know, I was just in Brownwood, Texas, at a town hall. A woman stood up and said, born and raised on a ranch just outside of Brownwood, born with a .22 in my hands. We use guns all the time. But I'm also the grandmother to 46 children. Wow. And I want to know that you're going to stand up to the NRA. Listen, I've got to face my kids and my conscience and do the right thing when we have the opportunity to do the right thing. We can save more lives in this country and in our state. And I'm going to do everything that I can to do that. And I think Texas wants to do that. And Texas, again, given our tradition of gun ownership and gun safety and responsibility, is in the perfect place to be able to do that.
Okay, so your opponent, Ted Cruz, has put out a catchy jingle campaign ad attacking you on a couple of different things, including your name. Here it is.
I remember reading stories, liberal Robert wanted to fit in, so he changed his name to Beto and hit it with a grin. Beto wants those open borders and wants to take our guns. Not a chance on earth he'll get a vote from me. Of Texans.
Now, Congressman, I know you have a punk rock past. Do you plan to compose a punk rock song to counter that jingle?
Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to continue to meet with and work with my fellow Texans on the big issues that we want Texas to lead on. We're the defining immigrant state. We should be leading the way on immigration reform, not being the sole senator, as Ted Cruz was, to turn his back on Texas and this opportunity to lead on an issue that we know better than anyone else in any other part of the country. I want to make sure that Texas goes from being the least insured state in the country to leading the way to ensure that every single American can see a doctor or a provider or afford their medication so that they can live to their full potential, finish their education, go to work, pay taxes, create a business, hire more Americans.
Yeah.
I want to make sure that we get our democracy back and return it to the people and get corporations and PACs and lobbyists and special interests out of the halls of Congress. And running this campaign in the most grassroots fashion that we've seen in Texas, all 254 counties, relying on people instead of PACs and corporations.
But Congressman,
that's the way to do it.
Why aren't you taking my punk rock bait?
Because I just don't think that's what folks in Texas want us to focus on. I mean, we can get into name calling and talk about why the other person's such an awful guy, or we can focus on the big things that we want to do for the future of our country, for the generations that will succeed us. And this is the most critical moment in the most important year of our lifetimes, and we've absolutely got to get it right. So we can focus on the small, mean, petty stuff, or we can be big, bold, courageous, and confident. I think that is Texas. That's our distinction as a state. That's our opportunity to lead. And that's the way I'm going to stay focused going forward in this campaign.
Yeah, look, I'm just saying as a Jersey girl, you know, punk rock, own it.
Yeah.